Alright, we're already into this series. It's a fresh best of 3. I don't know how Stasis got to the vetoes. And it's top right, as the red Protoss, he is Cascade's DnS. And top left, as the yellow Terran, it's Ziggy. Seems like a lot of our European Terrans that are flying under the radar are doing quite well in today's tournaments. Although Blue Cheese did eventually fall to Rainer, to get a game off of him is actually quite impressive. I don't know what happened exactly, but if it was a 2-racks or not, I still think that's impressive. So I made a joke about Stasis getting through. It's not even really a joke, guys. It's kind of legitimate at this point. We've seen 2 Terrans try and take on this map against Protoss, and I believe both of them fell. One of them being TY. It's a map that maybe isn't so bad if we don't see the Tempest shenanigans from the Protoss, and I don't think DnS is a shenanigans type of Protoss player. He has come into his own through his macro. You know, he's maybe missing the opportunities to break through, get really good results in this tournament because he doesn't do a lot of cheeses, but he has been steadily improving over the last year/2 years. And, you know, at times he's even better than the other French Protoss that we know, which is Drogo. So, this is a qualifying match. And this would be the third person qualifier. We're still waiting on Nerchio's match. There's 8 total spots, and the bottom bracket also has 4 slots. Whoever loses here is put into the loser's bracket qualifying match, so it's really not a very long jump to still potentially get through. Now this is a bit of an annoyance. It's not something we see very often because it's not usually that great, but it's actually doing quite well. It's also just not something we see because SCV scouts aren't really necessary in this matchup, but this is a really, oh, this is really nice. This is better than the bunker, I think. It's, you know, if this is a tech lab, I don't think I care that much. Tech labs are very quick things to build, but a reactor takes forever to build. That is a big problem for Ziggy's build. In the grand scheme of things, I guess it might not be a problem, but as far as his build goes, it certainly is messed up. It looks like he was trying to go into reactor Hellions, and then probably into Widow Mines after that. But the bunker is still doing damage, or it's allowing the Reaper to do damage still, so it is either killing probes or denying mining. So it's really not just an annoyance at this point. DnS did something a little bold. He went for the 2 adepts to the other side of the map, but unfortunately he's only going to find 1 SCV and not the main open. If it was the other side of the map, the main would currently be open because of his pylon block, and that would be a substantial difference. That would be revenge for the probes right there, as the adepts would have gotten some damage done. But no. Boom. DnS did not hear the Widow Mine. Did not see it in time to pull away, and so far things are looking better for Ziggy, even though he is still losing SCVs here and there. DnS had a lot of lost mining time, loses an Oracle, and in total has lost at least 1 more probe, I guess. But everything else is a little more important. Is it Game Heart? Yes, it is. DnS is still winning in the overall. Okay, I guess that makes sense. He still does, in general, have 8 more workers. There was also denied mining and denied production of SCVs in the natural, so... Because truly, the biggest loss there was the Oracle, but then DnS had a lot of his own little things that add up too, including the reactor being denied. So kind of an entertaining first 5 minutes. Slight differences here and there. Could have snowballed even better, but slight differences here and there could have also been, you know, totally boring first 5 minutes. Their Nexus on Stasis gets a little weird. You have high ground around you, but chokes and a decent amount of space between you and the chokes. It's mostly weird because by now we've usually seen the Terran player do an all-in or the Protoss players on the way to Tempest. So this is the first time I'm going to see almost like a real macro game here. In this matchup, we've seen PVZs on this map. We, in general, do not see this map. Oh, I spoke a little too soon. So this isn't all in. We have more stuff on the way behind this. It's not like all the SCVs are being pulled. But this was something I was imagining should happen soon. A bit of a push here. Vikings just going to choose to be on the ground, although it could help against the Phoenix. In fact, it probably should now be in the air to help against the Oracle. But nope, Skull's going to keep it on the ground. It has some pretty sick anti-mechanical damage, so it will help, especially against the Stalkers. Blink is on the way, +1's on the way, at the same time Stim, so a long way to go. Currently playing Reactor. Hop around. He's going to go up to a total of 6 barracks, which might be a mistake, actually. Second tank sieges up far in advance, so DnS doesn't quite see it, but not the best shots. Luckily for DnS, the Adept is on the front lines. If the Stalkers take a shot from a tank even once, that's a lot of DPS. It's a lot of splash damage, specifically. But back to the 6 barracks. So Ziggy is going to go for a 2-base all-in. If he gets a third, it'll be surprising. It'll be substantially later. So in that way, this might be on purpose, but I'm pretty sure most 2-base all-ins are still 5 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport. Not sure what he's giving up in exchange for the 6th barracks. Maybe upgrades? Yeah, I guess upgrades. So you're not investing into 100, 100, eventually 200, 200? Interesting. We'll see if he has consistent production. I'm pretty sure the 2-base all-ins we see from Terran are still 5 barracks. Okay, well. The Viking was not used in the attack, because the attack really didn't ever happen. They both kind of just said, okay, we respect each other, and let's get out of here. Ends up saving the Cyclone, otherwise that would have died to the Oracle. Cyclones, please. You can be both amazingly good and amazingly bad. Charge on the way, Storm on the way, +1 armor on the way. Does DnS recognize the 2-base all-in on the way here? He hasn't had much scouting on the 3rd base, and even then, there could be a 3rd base up here. He did not scout the extra production facility, so this could still be a question mark. This still could be a macro game according to his vision. But DnS is already at a decent supply of workers. 63 is actually quite good, and he's still able to get to the very important Storm Charge combination, or well, just about. The attack's on the way now. I thought there'd be some SCVs pulled, but no. I guess that does allow him to continue to produce from 6 barracks. If he can buy any time whatsoever, DnS will have those 2 very crucial upgrades, although he might be a little late to +1 armor. In fact, I wonder which one he's chronoing, +1 armor or the charge. The Stasis Trap will help out, not only taking a chunk of the units away, but also providing even more of a choke that these units will have to pass through. After that really comes into play here. We have somewhat of a concave set up, as much as you can get on Stasis. Storm is going to be there to defend. Charge is not done, +1's not done. DnS does not want to move into this without charge. He is mostly charge lot here. Well, in a funny way, because they're so slow, they might not get splashed as much with the Widow Mines. Not a good trade-off. Good blink away from that. It feels like Ziggy is maybe running out of options. Storm's going to look very powerful against him, as the tanks are simply overrun by the charge lots as it finishes with that +1. The Widow Mines get some pretty amazing hits on the charge lots, but there's not enough bio left over to get the last hits. One more there does take out a huge chunk of them, but we still have Storm, we still have feedbacks as well on top of these medevacs, and Ziggy is going to have to get away here. He does get away with 3 medevacs full of units. That's not too shabby, but that's not what he wanted from his push. DnS still healthily mining off of 3 bases, 62 workers. Now even has a Robos from Immortals to punch through the Marauders that lived through those storms. It's actually not that Marauder heavy. It means 4 barracks. I guess most of them died. Widow Mine's still on the way. Liberator still on the way, and he did save 3 medevacs. I was afraid all of them would die, so there's still that much to look forward to. But this just gets harder and harder as time goes on. Ziggy might need to pull the probes at one point, but you know, it's it's not good against Storm. It's decent against Colossus. It's why we saw SCV pulls against Colossus builds back in Heart of the Swarm, but only because Colossus, you know, the amount of splash and the amount of time, much greater for Storm than it is Colossus, even though Colossus also have splash. Storms make SCV pulls look stupid. But if you're truly desperate, then you gotta try something else, because this is starting to look very desperate. Takes 2 big storms to the face. They're all types of clumped up. It might not be the smallest choke in the world, but it is still a choke he has to work through, and there's no greater option either. Yeah, he could come down from the high ground, which sometimes helps out over here, but it'd be an even smaller choke to go through, which is not a good trade-off. Some storms on top of the widow mines to try and get them to be destroyed before they pop off. They still pop off, but there's just too much army left behind. Still enough storms as well as a guardian shield here. Liberator's not helping out too much. Widow mines, they want to get those amazing shots, and they have thinned out the charge lots. Actually, DnS. Oh, DnS. Oh, DnS. Oh, it was a little scary for a second, but now he's got it. That's a lot of bio against what was still just stalkers there, but the storms were always around to help out, and the Liberators were taken down fast enough not to ruin the Protoss's day. This is going to be it. At this point, DnS, I mean, for a while now, he's recognized that it was a 2-base all-in. So he knows he's doing perfectly fine. Maybe, you know, he still needs to be careful against throwing against Liberators, but we actually don't have any more on the way. It's back to medevacs, as Ziggy has no medevac energy available to heal. I mean, and this game is absolutely over. 50 supply difference. Just about. No upgrades for Ziggy again. He starts +1 in the 3rd CC, but that's not going to work out. Widowmine's going to get some decent shots, but what about the storms? You have nothing against the storms. There's so damn many of them. He's going to try and split concave whatever he can. But... Nah, GG. DnS with the hold against the 2-base all-in. I don't know if that was a great map for that specific all-in. But I also just don't really believe in stasis in general. Excuse me. So, next map is... I'll find out in a second what it is. It's Blue Shift. That will have stronger pushes. Come here. Ah. Whoever wins this is qualified through. Whoever loses is still very close to qualifying. So whether you're cheering for the Terran or the Protoss, it's maybe even likely that they get through. But yesterday we saw some upsets. As close as Clem got to making it through the winner's bracket, he eventually fell in the losers against Seoul. And today Clem also, just while we're talking about him, being sent to the losers bracket a little premature, a little sooner than we thought we would. Still would have probably lost against Raynor, but now he has a few more opponents to go through. I got an Amazon gift card. Huzzah. Let's get these scores up here. The bottom left, as the red Protoss, it is DnS. In the top right is the yellow Terran, it is Ziggy. Probably a fan of David Bowie. But maybe he also had a cat named Ziggy. Nurchio is currently facing Drogo. So we will know all 4 of the qualified players from the winner's bracket soon enough. Bottom bracket is still kind of crawling. It's not going so fast. It's a little worrying. But we have some matches looking interesting. The losers bracket is actually very held up. I don't know if I have an enemy to cast to the very end of the losers bracket today. I know I said that yesterday and ended up doing it, but because eventually we did get a game, I went into a qualifying match and it ended up working out. But this losers bracket seems like it has been held up a lot worse. So I don't know. It's not so much that I don't want to You know, it's 4 hours, but when you're casting and you get some games back and forth, back to back rather, it doesn't feel like that long. It's just that I'm very bad at solo casting, apparently. And by that, I don't mean... what's going on here? I don't mean that I'm bad casting. I mean that I don't do a good job of controlling my voice and saving my voice as often as I should. I still cast as if I'm only doing 2 hours of it or 4 hours of it. And 4 hours is kind of the max, especially when I'm not duo casting. So I don't want to ruin my voice. The annoying little pylon block. Ziggy just went for the high ground command center, as we see here, so this isn't getting as bothersome as it could. And that's a really nice choice by Ziggy to do so on a short map. But the pylon block almost gave him a big headache. I mean, it did. It made him build an additional supply depot that he really didn't need. And at the end of the day, DnS still got him to put his command center on the high ground, even though his Zealot Adept are a little sad about doing more damage. That plus 3 SCVs killed, plus an additional supply depot he didn't need. It's all good stuff. Thank you very much to the Gorgon's Crown for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you very, very, very much. Hope you all enjoy the subs. Make sure to spam the cat emotes. They're especially cute. But also make sure to spam the disapproving emotes, because that basically just sums up my stream in a nutshell. Being disappointed in Twitch chat and having cats. Jesus. Widow Mines wants to catch this Oracle so bad, but it's slightly out of position. Is that a dangerous Widow Mine? Is that one that he's gonna die if he doesn't have that in the right position? No, he's a Viking. He's alright. The units at the front are also not scary enough, it looks like. Actually, I think they are scary enough to take on what Ziggy has. A Cyclone is able to pop out, and the Viking would take care of the Oracle if it wanted to go ahead and join in on the fun. But Stalker, Adept, and a Zealot might have been able to deal some damage. At least take out the Hellion, which is now what Ziggy's using to scout. And, you know, otherwise, Ziggy didn't have much of a scout, really. Saw the Stargate, which is great, but really wanted to check out what was happening for that third Nexus. And he scouts it, that's nice. That's a very good use of the Hellion. No bunker at the front still. I mean, I would be worried, but we know that's totally fine. Marine count's growing. He's getting a tank, a Raven. Going for an engineering bay, mostly for the missile turret first and foremost, but we'll see what the plan is. Does he get the +1? Oh, we tried to drag it back in the Widow Mine, didn't work. Oh, Cyclones, please. We'll see if he goes for the +1 immediately and is going to try and hit like Stim Combat Shields +1 attack with tanks. It can be very strong. Or if he's going to go a little bit before that, and by a little bit before that, I mean a lot before that. And it looks like he's going to try and just hit with a rallying Raven and maybe a rallying second tank. You know, this is not a lot of units, but it's an important amount of units. And if it had gone unscouted and got into a decent position, then this would be decent for Ziggy. Unfortunately, it is scouted, but a really nice tank shot on top of some low health units. Tries to focus right down the Oracle, just barely doesn't get it. He really wants it though. And the Oracle's taking around a little too long. The Viking, thinking about going for it, decides not to. The auto turret's thrown down. And the Raven is going to lose its life. The Oracle still lives. I guess Ziggy was actually just thinking the auto turret would help out a little bit more, but unfortunately losing a lot of expensive units, slow building units too. The Raven lost, the tanks lost. This one dangerous to being lost. If Ziggy, if DnS had a couple more units, he could go for it. In fact, he is still going to go for it. And with the reinforcing stalkers, I think this is going to be it, guys. If it's not it, it's not a great start for Ziggy. It looks like it's... Okay, that little pause here from DnS lets Ziggy get another tank. The Phoenix has another lift up in 3 seconds. And it could go ahead and scout and see there's no extra tanks on the high ground. And he would know then that this is totally something he can take on. Actually, he doesn't even bother scouting. He figures out that's the only tank he must have. Goes for the kill here. And it does get another shot off, and the missile turret even helps out. So it's not the break that DnS was hoping for. Also, the Marauders pop out in the nick of time to help against these very low HP stalkers. It did actually kind of turn around on DnS there, but I certainly can't blame him for trying to end the game it was awfully close to being able to do so. So that was a little scary. Ziggy almost died, really. If DnS had not paused there and had immediately just, you know, hones forward, bull rushed in there and killed him, he's probably forced to pull the SCVs, let's say, at least, right? And he's losing economic advantages. Not that he has any. Mules have stopped bridging the gap a while ago, I think, because DnS is already up to 63 probes. So he'd just be farther behind than he already is. But even without that, right? Even DnS kind of missing the timing by a little bit and losing some stalkers because he tried to a little later than he should have. Ziggy still lost a lot of expensive units. He can't really afford to replace the Raven, both in the gas count as well as he needs medevacs right now. And he has lost a lot of momentum as well. Like, it's one thing to get your attack cleaned up and you go back home and you go back to whatever else you're going to do. And another to then lose more units and then barely hold on. During that entire time, instead of doing a drop or harassment or, you know, perfecting your macro, you get a little messed up, and DnS is the one who's perfecting his macro and is almost ready to go here with charge and +1 armor, but it's not quite ready to go. But really nice force field to help out here. Good control on the Zealots to make sure they aren't just wasted against the bio. +1 is done for both parties, but now charge is done for DnS. Armor almost done as well. 11 seconds to go here. There's a lot of Widow Mines. Revelation reveals them. Good split on the Zealots at the last second, but there are still more Widow Mines here. Once DnS runs thin on the Zealots, that's when the Stalkers look really bad against this type of army. Ziggy down 15 workers, but almost making this work. His Marauders getting so damn low. Medevacs are now out of energy, and this has gotten kind of close. Again, Stalkers will instantly melt against the Marauders, but good blink micro. Stalkers being low on health, and that is it. More charge lots are on the way out.